Hey guys, just wanted to jump in and make a quick update video to what's happening as far as earthquake activity. More specifically, what's happening over in the Cascadia fault line near Alaska right now. A lot of action going on in the past 24 hours. We've had about 17 earthquakes pop off in the past 24 hours. The most recent, as far as highest magnitude, happening 3 hours ago, Gulf of Alaska 5.2, and then after that we had a 3.8 on the peninsula and a 3.1 following that. And then before that, in the past 24 hours, we've had 2.6, 2.4, 3.0, 4.0, 3.2, 2.4, 2.2, 3.2, 4.7, 2.3, and the list goes on and on. As you can see right here, as I zoom in, this is all within the past 24 hours. When I looked at this over the weekend, there was maybe about 8 or 10 going off, around 2 to 3 pointers, and now the uptick is increasing as well as the magnitude, and we got to keep our eye on this. As we all know, we saw what happened over in Japan and Ecuador in the past few weeks, and if you guys follow Dutch Sense, he breaks it down pretty well. He knows his stuff. I don't know nearly as much as he does, but nonetheless, I still follow seismic activity right now because the uptick is just pretty worrisome, and it seems as though the governments are preparing for natural disasters of some kind. We also got a huge uptick in volcanoes, sinkholes, and meteor sightings as well. And so, I mean, just look at that map. I mean, that's all over the world right now. I've never seen it like that before, to be honest. They're just popping off like crazy. Indonesia, Japan, all over South and Central America. But obviously, since I live in the States and my focus right now is happening with, what's happening over in Alaska, because that's going to affect us. California is, popping off pretty. A lot of them, not drastically, but we've had some 2.7, 2.4. San Francisco got hit by like a 3.0 a few weeks ago, which was the biggest one in over a year. So obviously, whatever happens on the Cascadia is going to trickle down into the San Andreas, and it could just be, just disastrous. Not trying to fearmonger, just trying to get you guys prepared, as obviously the government is doing. As you can see right here, this is a first of its kind. This is from FEMA.gov. It's called Cascadia Rising 2016. Goes on to talk about how a 9.0 magnitude earthquake along the Cascadia subduction zone and the resulting tsunami is the most complex disaster scenario that emergency management and public safety officials in the Pacific Northwest could face. Cascadia Rising is an exercise to address that disaster. June 7th to June 10th, 2016, emergency operations and coordination centers at all levels of government and the private sector will activate to conduct a simulated field response operation within their jurisdictions and with neighboring communities, state EOCs, FEMA, and major military commands. Conducting successful life-saving and life-sustaining response operations in the aftermath of the Cascadia subduction zone disaster will hinge on the effective coordination and integration of government at all levels: cities, counties, state agencies, federal officials, the military, tribal nations, as well as non-government organizations and the private sector. One of the primary goals of Cascadia Rising is to train and test this whole community approach to complex disaster operations together as a joint team. So obviously they are preparing. This is taking place in just over a month, and I find it very coincidental that Alaska is kicking off like crazy right before then. I don't believe in coincidences. I've done my research on HARP and what's going on with CERN and what's going on just around the world with upticks and earthquakes. Are these man-made earthquakes? Is the question. A lot of you out there can say yes. A lot of people out there will say no. This is just cyclical and having to do with just Earth cycle and changes going on in the fault lines and underground. So either way you argue it, it doesn't matter, because it's happening. These quakes are increasing. We've been warned all over the mainstream media to prepare for mega quakes, and how these quakes are, the big ones are basically overdue. This is from a website called Strange Sounds. It's got a link to the FEMA quake scenario. It's a FEMA document, PDF format. Just some highlights that they put in here. Once they're basically saying if the Cascadia fault line goes, It will create a tsunami by 30 feet or higher. It will slam into oceanfront communities, and then they say more than 10,000 fatalities, mostly due to that tsunami. 30,000 injuries, 7,000 highway bridges, and 16,000 miles of highway with high to moderate levels of damage. 90% of port facilities destroyed or damaged. Natural gas and refined fuel pipelines out of service. 70% of electrical power systems damaged, and serious damage to water treatment and sewage plants. So, these are just ballpark estimates. Obviously, it could be a whole lot worse. 10,000 fatalities is definitely a lot, but, it could be a whole lot more than that after all is said and done. So, I'll leave a link to this, which has the link to the FEMA quake scenario coming straight out of the mouths of FEMA. It's a PDF document. It's pretty involved, but worth taking a look at. Also got CNN coming out a few months ago talking about the quake maker you've never heard of, Cascadia. Goes on to talk about, how scientists are preparing for that and how it's overdue. The Daily Mail, this just came out a few days ago actually. Is America ready for a tsunami? Scientists reveal plans to deal with killer waves across Pacific Northwest. Massive tsunami event is said to occur every 400 to 600 years and is now overdue in the region. States such as California, Oregon, Washington, and Alaska are looking to both past and the future to prepare for a tsunami on the Pacific coastline. Goes on to talk about how plans for managing tsunami risk on the West Coast are still evolving, according to scientists speaking at the Seismological Society of America's 2016 annual meeting, which took place April 20th to the 22nd in Reno, Nevada. So the geologists and the seismologists are getting together to talk about what's happening, over on the Pacific Northwest as well as around the world with uptick in earthquakes. So we have to keep our eye on this. Like I said, Alaska, I've never seen it pop off like this. I've been following quakes. I get on this at least once a day to check out the earthquake activity, and I have never seen Alaska popping off with so many earthquakes in such a short period of time. Like I said, last 24 hours has shown about 17 to 18 earthquakes, the biggest one being 5.2 on the Gulf 3 hours ago. So keep our eye on the earthquake activity. I will leave a link to this, the FEMA document for Cascadia Rising, as well as the other ones. And if any more information comes out, I'll keep you guys updated. I'll leave a link to the global incident map as well if you guys have not gotten on there. It basically shows you all the quakes that are happening around the world, as well as other stuff like disease outbreaks, bomb threats, all that stuff. So that's all I got for now, guys. Keep your eyes open and be safe. Take care. I'll see you in my next video. All right, bye-bye.